Honorable Judge Murphy presiding. Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. You may be seated. Thank you. Counsel, are we prepared to call the next witness?
We are, Your Honor.
All right, we'll bring the jury in then. Thank you. Counsel, I would plan to stop at quarter of.
That's fine, Your Honor. Yes, I could probably take us till quarter of.
Okay. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Counsel, please stipulate to the return of all of our jurors.
State will stipulate, Your Honor.
Defense stipulates, Your Honor.
All right, very good. So the state, at this time, if you would like to please call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. State would call Ryan Heinz to the stand.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Please step up into the witness box and remain standing. Madam Clerk is going to put you under oath. Thank you.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or solemnly and sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God, or upon penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Thank you. Please state your full name, spelling your last name.
Ryan Heinz, RyanHeinz,
Thank you. And please state your address.
91 Drive.
All right, thank you. You may be seated. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your
Thank
Honor.
you.
Ryan, do me a favor. Just sit close to that microphone and keep your voice up, because the acoustics in this courtroom is not too good. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Can you please tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury how old you are?
I'm 19 years old.
And do you go to school?
Yeah, I'm going to be attending Alfred State University in the fall.
And what are you going to study?
Heavy machinery operations.
And prior to Alfred State University, were you in school?
I just ended a postgraduate year at Bridgeton Academy.
Did you play any sports?
Yeah, I played football there.
And are you working for the summer?
Yes, I am.
What are you doing?
I'm working at the UPS store in Fairfield.
Now, prior to your testimony today, have you and I met?
Yes, we have.
About how many times?
3.
And why did we meet?
To talk about today.
And I want to direct your attention to May 14th of 2022. How old were you back then?
I was 16 years old.
And did you go to school?
Yes, I did.
Where did you go to school?
I was in Shelton High School.
And did you play any sports?
Yeah, I played football and baseball.
And what year in school were you back then?
I was a sophomore at the time.
You were a rising sophomore, or were you ending your sophomore?
I was ending my sophomore year.
So I want to direct your attention to earlier on in the day on May 14th of 2022. You familiar with Griffin Marcinzik?
Yes, I am.
How do you know Griffin?
Griffin's a really good friend of mine. Ever since I moved to Shelton, he's been one of my first buddies.
And did you and Griffin hang out somewhere earlier in the day on May 14th of 2022?
Yeah, I think we hung out at his house for a little bit that day.
Around what time would you say you were at his house?
Getting closer to the evening time.
And at some point, did you leave his house?
Yes, I did.
And where did you guys go?
Natalia Rizdik's house.
And how did you get to Natalia Ridzik's house?
I believe we walked.
And is it close?
Yeah, it's only 2-3 streets away.
And when you got to Natalia Ridzik's house, what kind of things were you guys doing there?
Just sat down, hanging out. She had a couple people over. It was no more than like eight of us there.
Now, were you guys drinking alcohol?
Yes, we were.
And were you drinking?
Yes, I was.
And how much were you drinking?
I would say at her house, no more than 2 beers.
Did you drink at Griffin's house prior to going to
No.
Natalia's house?
No, I didn't.
When you went to Natalia's house, did you bring any alcohol with you?
Yes, I did.
And what did you have with you?
I had a 12-pack of Bud Light with me.
And you said you drank 2 beers
Yeah.
out of that Bud Light?
Yeah.
Okay. And how long would you say you were at Natalia Ridzik's house for?
30, 40 minutes, something like that.
And at some point in time, did you and Griffin leave Natalia's house?
Yes, we did.
Why did you leave Natalia's house?
Because we were invited to Austin Leifer's house.
And do you know where Austin Leifer's house is?
Yes, it's on Lazy Brook.
And did you in fact go to Lazy Brook Road?
Yes, we did.
And how did you get there?
Tanner Chernowski drove us there.
Okay. And when Tanner Chernowski drove you there, was it just you and Griffin?
Yeah.
And at some point in time, he dropped you off?
Tanner, yeah, he dropped us
At Lazy
off.
Brook Road. Around what time do you think he dropped you off?
Gosh. Around like 7, 8 o'clock, somewhere around there.
And around 7, 8 o'clock, what was the lighting up like out?
It was still daylight out.
And at some point in time, was it getting dark?
Yeah.
And when you got to Lazy Brook Road, can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what happened when you got there?
So we showed up there. We were just walking up the driveway, and then the garage door was open, and we just heard music and noise, and we walked into the garage, and that's about as far as we got in.
Now, when you got to Lazy Brook Road, were you drinking a beer down the driveway?
No, I still was only at 2 beers.
And you say you got as far as the garage. Why did you only get as far as the garage?
Because as we're about to walk into like what you would like the door from the garage like into the house, there's 3 or 4 people getting kicked out, it seemed like, of that door and getting told to leave.
And do you know who those people were?
At the time, no.
Do you know who they are now?
Yes, I do.
And who were they?
The defendant, Jack Snyder, and Tyler De Silva.
And you say the defendant. Who is the defendant?
Raul Valle.
And is Raul Valle in the courtroom today?
Yes, he is.
And what is he wearing?
Black suit.
And can you please point him out for the...
He is right there.
Your Honor, may the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant in this case?
Court will allow the record to reflect that the witness has identified Mr. Valle. Thank you.
Now, when you say you were trying to get into the house and the defendant and his friends were being, what you deemed being kicked out of the party, tell me what happened at that time.
Him and his friends started just questioning us who we were and asking what our business was there.
And what was your response to that?
Austin had invited us over. I played football with Austin for a year in 8th grade for Shelton. Became pretty good friends with him. And he had told me and Griffin that night, come over, I'm having a party, come over.
When you got to Lazy Brook, did you notice if there was any drinking going on at that house?
Oh, yes, there was.
And when you responded to the defendant and his friends, telling them that you were there because you were invited by Austin, what was their reaction to that?
They didn't care. They didn't seem to ask Austin who we were. They didn't care. They weren't worried about if we were invited or not. They weren't worried about that.
Was the defendant saying anything to you in particular during those moments?
No, not really. It was more of Snyder that was saying stuff to me.
And at some point in time, how long would you think that interaction between you and the defendant and his friends lasted for?
About 2 or 3 minutes.
And then at some point in time, withdrawn. Did this interaction happen inside the garage
all
area?
in the garage. All in the garage.
At some point in time, did the interaction between you and the defendant and his friends extend to outside the garage?
Yes, it did.
Tell us about how that happened.
So basically, it started with Snyder asking me for a beer because I had my 12-pack in my hands. And I actually said, yeah, sure, you can have a beer. And then the defendant asked me for a beer also. I said, yeah, sure, you can have a beer. I gave each of them a beer. And they were just like, they weren't okay with that. They started getting very argumentative with us, still wanting to know who we were, why we're there, and insisting that I give up my whole entire pack of beers for them.
And what happened after they insisted that you give up your beers?
Like I said, I gave each of them one beer. was just like, is that all right? Like, can we just be cool about this? And for a second, it seemed like, yeah. They were like, yeah, sure, it's cool, it's fine. And we're like, all right, cool. Like, can we get by? And then all of a sudden, I get my beer grabbed from out of my hands by Snyder. And then all of a sudden, me and Griffin are getting pushed out, not on our own.
And how were you getting pushed out?
Literally got grabbed and just started being walked out by Snyder out of the garage into the driveway.
And once you got out into the driveway, what was your reaction to how you were being treated?
I was in shock. Like I wasn't trying to be an aggressor in any sort of way. I just had given them a beer, trying to be cool, make some friends, whatever. But they were very just like, fuck you, blah, 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 who are you, all this, that, and another thing.
And at some point in time, did you get angry with
Yes,
her?
I did. I got upset with Snyder, and I simply said to him, listen, like, that's not how this is going to happen. And I told him, like, I'll fight you for my beer right now.
And so when you told him you would fight for your beer, what did you do at that point?
He said, okay, sure. I don't know where or who had my beer at that point in time. And I kind of just put my hands up, getting ready to fight him.
Now, prior to you getting ready to fight Snyder, do you remember what he was wearing at that point in time?
He was wearing, I believe, some sort of Nike hoodie and some shorts.
Do you remember what the defendant was wearing?
Yeah, he had a Ole Miss baseball shirt on.
Show you State's Exhibit 53. Show you State's 53. Is this what you recall the defendant and Snyder looking like that night?
Yes.
Okay. You see that the defendant has some the helmet on?
Yeah.
Did he have that on when you initially talked?
Whole time.
Okay. And he has some type of neck pillow on?
Yeah.
Did he have that on when you spoke to him in the garage?
I don't recall.
Okay. So when you get out into the driveway, you square it up with Jack. What does that mean? You square it up?
I put my fist up, like, just kind of saying, all right, let's go. Let's do this.
And did Jack, in fact, put his hands up?
Yes, he did.
And at some point in time, what happened after that?
I'm kind of looking at Jack, just, like, kind of walking closer to him, like, about to go and punch him. But then it happened so fast where I get hit, like, right here, I get hit. And I'm thinking it's Jack that hit me. Like, it happened so fast, but then I'm like, whoa, like, he's far away. But it just instincts took over, and I just went and tackled Snyder to the ground.
And at some point in time, how long would you say the fight lasted for?
30 seconds.
And do you know who you were fighting with at that moment?
I was just trying to fight Snyder.
And do you know if anybody else was fighting with you?
I felt a lot of blows to the back of my head multiple times, over and over, repeated, getting like what felt like being punched in the back of my head many times while I was just on top of Snyder. And then all of a sudden I'm getting ripped off by my neck, and that was about it.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 58. Have you seen the video from the fight at Lazy Brook?
Yes, I have.
Stop right there. So I'm going to give a pointer up there.
Yeah.
So this is frame 47. The individual here in the red sweatshirt, do you know who that is?
That's Snyder.
Okay. And the guy here in the green sweatshirt and
That's
the
me.
black shorts,
That's me.
do you know who this is behind you?
That's the defendant.
Okay, just play a little bit. Right there. Frame 100. This individual right here to the left, do you know who that is?
That's De Silva.
Now, after this fight ended, what did you do?
I got my beer back and I left.
Do you know how you got your beer back?
I believe the lifer's mother gave it back to me.
And was there any arguing back and forth going on after this fight ended?
No.
You just grabbed your beer and you took off?
Yep.
Now, when this fight occurred, do you know whether or not, would you recall where Griffin was at the time?
He was like, I don't know.
You can't see him in the video.
No, he's not in the video. He's like over to the right more.
Okay.
Like,
But he
you
was
kind of
close.
see where those people are standing behind it to the right.
Yep.
He's like a little bit more behind them and to the right. I don't know. Somebody like, I think somebody like grabbed him and
Okay.
like held him back, not letting him.
But in other words, he was close to see what was going on, right?
Yes, Griffin definitely saw.
Now, at some point in time, you grabbed your beer. What did you do? Walk up the driveway?
We'll walk down the driveway.
Walk down the driveway, excuse
Yeah.
me. Okay, when you walked down the driveway, what did you do when you got to the end of the driveway?
Me and Griffin were kind of just standing there like, well, we got to leave, but we don't have a ride or anything like that. But then I can remember there were girls down at the bottom of the driveway, and they offered to give us a ride home.
Showing your states 59. See that? Do you see states 59?
Yes, I do.
Who's this individual in the back here?
That's me.
That's you.
Yep.
And was this picture taken before or after the fight?
Oh, that's after.
And can you see, if you look close enough, looks like you have a... Look like you have like a bloody lip there?
Yeah.
Who's this individual here to the left of you?
That's Griffin.
Okay. And did you know any of these girls that night when you walked down the driveway?
I did not know.
Why were you involved in this picture?
I don't know.
Because somebody else took it?
Yeah.
Did you get a ride home a ride from Lazy Brook after this picture was taken?
Yes.
Who took you?
One of these girls.
Okay. And where did they take you?
Back to Natalia's house.
And when you were at Natalia's house, did you drink any alcohol there?
I don't know. I didn't.
How long would you say you were at Natalia's house after they gave you a ride there? How long
10
were you there?
minutes.
10 minutes? Now, at some point in time between Lazy Brook and Natalia's house, did you become aware of a group chat that had started?
Yes.
And tell us about that.
That was a group chat that I had been added to a week or two prior, actually.
Why were you added to it? Do you know why?
I really don't know, to be honest. My buddy Michael Kinnick added me to it. It was his little like basketball group chat to go play at the community center with some buddies. And I just remember that group chat, like there would be a lot of shit talking that happened in that group chat, like all the time. And he just one day added me to it and was just like, talk some shit to these kids, blah, blah, blah. That's really all I remember about
So you didn't actually go play basketball? You
No,
were just in the chat?
you could ask any of my friends. I don't really like playing basketball.
Now, do you know whether or not the group chat involved any of withdrawn? The individuals that you just got into an altercation with back at Lazy Brook, did they go to school with you?
Just Griffin.
Griffin went to school with you, but did the defendant go to school with you?
No,
Do you know where he went to school?
he went to St. Joe's.
What about Jack Snyder?
He went to St. Joe's as well.
What about Tyler De Silva?
He went to St. Joe's.
Do you know if any of the girls in this picture here States 59, do you know if any of the girls in this picture, did you go to school with any of these girls?
No,
Do you know where they went to school?
I believe St. Joe's.
Okay. Now, in this group chat, were you aware as to whether or not individuals from St. Joe's were added to the group chat?
I was not aware. I saw a lot of phone numbers being added to it, but I didn't know who was who and all that.
Do you know whether or not what was said, but do you know whether or not any commentary that was going on in the group chat when you were driving from Lazy Brook to Natalia's house had anything to do with what had just happened at Lazy Brook?
No.
Were you in fact involved in the group chat from Lazy Brook to Natalia's house?
Not that I recall, no.
Do you know whether or not Griffin was at that point?
Not that I recall.
So when you get to Natalia's house, you said you're there for 10 to 15 minutes?
Yeah.
And at some point in time, you leave Natalia's house?
Yes, I did.
Why?
Charlie came and picked us up.
Charlie who?
Connery,
And how do you know Charlie Connery?
good friend of mine.
And did you go to high school with him?
Yes, I did.
Now, at some point in time, after you leave Lazy Brook, when you get to Natalia's house, do you text message anybody about what happened to you at Lazy Brook?
No, everybody like already knew for some reason. Like I didn't go around telling people all this and that about what happened. I didn't really care that much. I didn't tell anybody about it. Everybody just already knew.
Well, in fact, at Lazy Brook, did you go there to fight?
No, I just came because Austin invited me.
Now, so Charlie Connery came and picked you up from Natalia's house. Where did he take you?
To the richest house.
And when you say the richest house, who's the richest?
Tyler Rich.
And how do you know Tyler Rich?
I just played football with him that past year.
Did you go to school with him?
Just for like that sophomore year because due to COVID, like freshman year, all that stuff. So freshman, sophomore year, you could say, yeah, I went to school with him.
States Exhibit 5, do you recognize this house?
Yes.
Whose house is that?
Tyler Rich's house.
And when you got to Tyler Rich's house, did you go in immediately inside the house?
Yes, I did.
And how many people would you say were there when you got there?
20 to 30.
And when you got there, what kind of things were going on inside the house?
I just had like people coming up to me and questioning me like what had happened, just wanted to know what had happened. I wasn't like everybody like I said before, they already knew. I don't know how they knew, but they knew what had happened, and I just simply explained to the people that asked me what happened, what had happened.
And did you in fact tell them what happened at Lazy Brook?
Yes, I did.
Now, when you were, aside from what you told people, happened at Lazy Brook, what other things were going on inside Tyler Rich's house?
Conversation.
People hanging out?
Yeah.
Were people drinking alcohol?
Yes.
Okay. Did you see who was drinking alcohol, or was it just kind of just there and people? You
Yeah.
saw?
It was just
What kind of alcohol was being consumed? Do you remember?
just beers or a seltzer, something like that.
Did you bring your beer
Yes.
or what was left of them with you to Tyler Rich's house?
Yes, I did.
Did you in fact drink any alcohol when you were at Tyler Rich's house? One beer?
Yeah.
Now, when you got to Tyler Rich's house, how did you enter the house? Do you remember?
Through the cellar side doors.
Do you recall where the cellar side doors are?
Yeah, it's on the right of the house.
So if I'm, so I'm pointing to this area here. Is this around the area where you came into the house?
Yeah.
Okay, so it would be what, on the other side of this AC unit?
Yeah.
And when you got there, actually withdraw. Showing you states 54. Do you know who that is?
It's Faison.
And how do you know Faison?
Just went to school with him and played a season of football with him.
Do you know whether or not Faison was at Tyler Rich's house when you got there?
I don't know.
Or was he there at some point in the
Yes.
night? Showing you states 55. Do you know who that is?
Yeah,
Who is that?
that's Tommy Connery.
And how do you know Tommy?
He's Charlie's older brother.
And was he there when you got to Tyler Rich's house?
I believe so. I wasn't really looking around to see who was there, who wasn't there, but yeah, I believe
You
he
said
was
there were
there.
30 people there.
Yeah, he was there.
Did you take into account every single person that was at Tyler Rich's house
No.
that night? But do you recall seeing Charlie there? I mean Tommy there?
Yeah.
Showing you states 57. You know who this is a picture of?
Yes,
Who is that?
that's Jimmy McGrath.
And how do you know Jimmy McGrath?
I'd met him one time previously at Tyler's house, I think a few months beforehand. That's really my only relation with Jimmy.
Do you recall seeing Jimmy at Tyler's house?
Yes, actually, I remember talking to him. Actually, he was one of the first people I did talk to when I got there. He was asking me what had happened that night.
The Lazy Brook incident.
Exactly, yep.
Exhibit 56, who's that?
Me,
And do you know when this picture was taken?
in the hospital.
Now, are you familiar with Enrico Fiola?
Yes,
How do you know Ricky?
very good friend of mine.
And did you go to school with him?
Yes, I did.
And how about Sal Perry? Do you know
Yeah,
Sal
I
Perry?
Yeah,
And how do you know him?
played football with him.
How about Mike Samperry?
Yes.
How do you know him?
Just friends. Like, just got to meet him when I first got to Shelton. We became good friends. He went to a different high school, but we still remained good friends.
How about Alex Bernstein?
I'd met him like 2 or 3 times prior, just when I was with Tanner, hanging out with him. Alex would come around every now and then.
Okay. Now, the individuals I just mentioned, were they all at Tyler Rich's party? Do you remember seeing them?
Yes.
Now, after you got to Tyler Rich's house and you were telling people what had happened, did you guys kind of just hang out for a little bit?
Yeah.
Do you know whether or not this basketball group chat, was this going on at the time?
Yeah, like I wasn't really too involved in it, but I was feeling the notifications going off in my pocket on my phone. My phone, I felt the buzz going off on my phone, and I knew there was stuff being said in there. I just don't know what was being said exactly.
Do you know who was saying anything? And you don't know? You just, did you glance at it and say, oh, that's the
I would
chat?
just look at it and be like, oh, whatever, put it back in my pocket.
Now, at some point in the night, did individuals show up to Tyler Rich's house that weren't invited?
Yes.
Okay, and how long would you say you were at Tyler Rich's house before that happened?
10, 15 minutes.
And how were you made aware that these individuals showed up to Tyler Rich's house?
Everybody was just like, they're here. They showed up, and people started walking outside.
Were you made aware of it through other individuals in the house, or were you also made aware of it through the group chat?
Just other individuals in the house.
And when you were made aware that they were here, what did you do as a result?
Walked outside
And how did you walk outside?
through the cellar doors that I came in from.
And when you walked outside, I'm going to show you this exhibit here, states 49. When you walked outside, can you tell us, where did you walk from the house?
Through the side where the cellar doors are, and then kind of through the driveway, and then the car was parked roughly right in front of the driveway.
So, if I correct, you walked this way, for all intents and purposes with this exhibit, there's a blue truck here.
Yeah.
You walked down the driveway,
Mm-hmm.
and you're saying the car was parked somewhere in front of the driveway?
Yeah, maybe a little bit farther back, but yeah, right about there.
Was it parked on the side of the road? The middle
No,
of
it
the-
was more like right in the middle of the road.
So was the car parked somewhere around here?
Yeah.
Okay, so if the record can reflect, the lower portion of this exhibit, just to the left of the trees on the right side of Laurel Glen Road, towards the middle of the road.
Noted for the record, thank you.
And when you saw this car in the road, what did you notice about it? Did you notice what type of car it was?
Yeah, it was a SUV.
And showing you State's Exhibit 30, does that seem to be what you saw that night?
Yes.
And which way was it facing? Was it facing towards Adams, or was it facing towards Farmhouse? Exhibit 1's behind you if you want to.
It was facing towards Farmhouse.
Okay. You need to use this. And did you approach this vehicle?
Yes, I did.
And when you approached the vehicle, what side of the vehicle did you approach?
The driver's side.
And how far away did you get from the vehicle when you stopped, when you walked up to it? How far away?
I was right next to it.
And did you talk to anybody in the vehicle?
No.
Did you notice anybody in the vehicle?
Yes.
Who did you notice?
I noticed Snyder driving, and then I noticed De Silva, Raul, and Mackenzie Traficante.
Did you notice anybody else in the vehicle?
A few others, but I didn't know who they were.
And can you describe, did you have, at some point in time, withdrawn, how many of you approached the vehicle?
10, 15.
And when you approached the vehicle, did anybody have a conversation with anybody in that vehicle?
Yes.
What was the conversation like? Not what was said, but what was it like?
It was, I don't really know how to explain it. Like, I feel like there was multiple different conversations going on throughout the vehicle. Like, I feel like someone was having a conversation with the front passenger, someone was having a conversation with the driver, somebody was having a conversation with the people in the back seats. So I'm not really too sure what was said, but it was, the overall tone of it was totally like chill and like normal, and then there were parts of it that were aggressive, and
And why did it get aggressive?
because they had jumped me.
And did you say anything to anybody when you were there?
No, not that I recall.
Do you recall if the defendant said anything to anybody?
No.
Now, at some point in time, you said that it got aggressive?
Yeah.
And when it got aggressive, tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what happened when it was getting aggressive.
Cans started getting thrown at the car, and then the car started whipping up and down the road.
Now, when you say cans got thrown at the car, who threw cans?
Multiple different people.
Did you throw any cans?
Yes, I did.
And what kind of cans did you throw?
I threw my Bud Lights that I had still.
Were they empty cans or were they full cans?
They were full cans.
Okay. Do you recall where you threw the can?
I believe I was on the other side of the car at this point, so on the passenger side now. And I believe I hit the door, the passenger side door.
Okay.
And then the other can I threw completely missed the car because I believe the car was moving at the time.
So you see this defect in the windshield here?
Yeah,
Did you recall doing that yourself?
I did not do that, no.
So if that was done that night, that was done by somebody else?
Yeah.
If it was done that night?
Yeah.
Now, after the beer cans were being thrown and other things were being thrown at the car, did anybody else put their hands on the car? Was there anybody else doing anything else to the car?
Not that I recall, no.
And you said the car at some point left?
Yeah,
And where did it go?
just up and down the road.
When you say up and down the road, if you're looking at State's Exhibit 1,
It was just going back and forth like this way.
and when it was going back and forth, what, if anything, was the car doing?
Going really fast?
Were they throwing anything from the car?
No.
You don't remember any of that?
No.
Where were you when the car was going up and down the road?
In the driveway.
And were you paying attention to it the whole time, or were you talking
Pretty
to other
much.
people?
Yeah, a mix. Like I would pay attention to it, then I'd talk to the person next to me, something like that.
Now, when you were initially at the car, do you recall who was with you out of all your friends?
No, I wasn't worried about any of that.
Why can't you recall who was with you at the time?
I just wasn't looking for who was with me. I just knew it was my friends, people that I knew weren't going to do anything to me.
Do you know if Tyler Rich was there?
No.
Do you know if Griffin Marcinzik was there?
No.
Do you know if Ricky Fiola was there?
No.
Now, when the car went up and down the road and you were in the driveway, you said?
Yeah.
You said you were just talking to your friends, kind of paying attention. Were you kind of looking down the road?
Yeah.
What were you doing? Okay, and you said you were talking to your friends. What friends were you talking to? You remember?
No.
Why can't you remember?
Just normal conversation. Just can't remember.
Can't remember the particular person you were talking to? At some point in time, did the car stop driving up and down the road?
Yes.
And where did you see it stop?
Like right at the corner of Farmhouse and Laurel Glen.
And when it stopped at that corner, what, if anything, do you remember happening next?
I can remember Tyler Rich running down there after the car, and I actually I didn't go fully down there, but I also kind of like walked about halfway down the road towards it.
So, I'm showing you this exhibit here.
Yeah.
This is State's Exhibit 49.
Mhm.
Can you show me on State's Exhibit 49 where you walked down to?
To about like where all the trees are. I just remember the trees on my side.
The trees here,
The other side of the road.
these trees?
Yeah.
So just past Tyler Rich's property on the left-hand side where there's these, looks like pine trees.
Yeah.
And you stopped right around here?
Yep.
So if the record can reflect, he's on the left side of the road, just past the 43 Laurel Glen property, next to what appear to be pine trees next door.
Record shall reflect it. Thank you.
And when you were there, How far away were you, do you think, from where the car was?
Gosh, I don't know. Several feet away from the car.
Like hundreds of feet, maybe 100 feet, a couple hundred feet?
I don't know.
Were you close enough to see anything going on down the road?
Not really. I was just able to like make out like people and that there were people down there.
And what did you see?
It's like people talking. It looked like really. That's
And
about it.
when people were outside the car or inside the car?
Both.
And when people were down there talking, do you recall if any of your friends were down there at the same time?
Yeah, I know Tyler Rich was down there.
Did you know if anybody else went down there? Did more than just Tyler Rich go down there, though?
Yes.
And do you recall whether or not, outside of talking, did you see anybody get into any physical altercation or fight down there?
No.
Did you see anybody throw anything down there?
No.
How long would you say that you were watching what was going on down the road at that point in time?
I think I watched for like 30 seconds and I just stopped caring and I walked back to the house.
You walked back to the house. Did you go back inside the house?
Yeah.
So tell us how did you get back inside the house?
Same way that I went in previously through the cellar doors.
So you walked. Did you walk down the road, cut across the property, and
Yeah,
back
I
into
cut
the cellar?
through the yard and went through the cellar doors.
And when you got back inside Tyler Rich's house, what did you do when you got back inside the basement?
I just like kind of stood there for like a minute or two. Everybody seemed to be in there, and then all of a sudden I just hear, "They're back. They're back. They're in the yard."
Now, before you heard they're back, what kind of things were you guys doing? Were people still drinking, having a good time, hanging out?
Not really anymore. Everybody's kind of just like, this night's over. Nothing good about it.
What time of day was it? Was it late?
I don't know. Like,
If you
10,
can't recall, you
11,
can't recall.
I can't really recall.
It wasn't light out though, right?
No.
And was it, when you were outside, was it dark enough that you couldn't see in front of you?
No, it was a nice night. Like, it wasn't dark. Like, it wasn't pitch black outside. Like, you could see the person in front of you. You could see like somebody 10 feet away from you. You could make them out.
Were there any other lights around the area at the time? Do you remember if there were any lights
I
from
think
the house?
there was like a sensor light from the house, but that's really all I recall.
And you said at some point in time you heard somebody say they're back.
Yeah.
When you heard somebody say they're back, what did that mean to you?
I don't really know what it meant to me. I just instantly was like, I want to go see what it is.
So you were curious?
Yes.
And because you wanted to go see what it was, what did you do as a result?
I immediately went right back out the cellar door and walked into the yard.
And when you walked into the yard, showing you State's Exhibit 5, where did you go? Do you recall where you went? Can you show me in State's Exhibit 5?
I'm somewhere behind like this red bush.
Okay. So you're somewhere over here?
Yeah.
So if the record can reflect, I'm pointing to the left side, just behind the red bush.
Record can reflect. Thank you.
And when you come outside and you're near this bush here, what do you see when you come outside?
I see the defendant and then I see De Silva.
And can you tell us on State's Exhibit 5 where you saw them?
About the same area. De Silva was like, if I'm looking at them, De Silva was behind the defendant to his right a little bit, maybe 3 or 4 feet.
So if you're looking this way,
Yeah.
De Silva's over here.
Yeah,
Okay, and the defendant is where?
right in front of me.
And tell us about your Did you have an interaction with these two?
Yes.
Just tell us about that.
So when I walk outside, the defendant had just like put his shirt up over his head. And like, I can't do it right now, but he like put his shirt over his head and was just like quietly, very calmly saying, "Where's Aiden King? Where's Aiden King? I want to see Aiden King." And just kept repeating that over and over again.
Did you ask him why he wanted to see Aiden King?
I wasn't really worried about it. I didn't care.
And what was your reaction when he was asking about where Aiden King was?
I just was like, don't worry about it. I'm right here. What's your problem? Like, why are you back here?
Yeah, and what was his response?
Where's Aiden King? And then I caught, like, I was like, why do you have your shirt on your head like that? I was saying that, and then I pulled the shirt off of his head. Not, like, hard or anything like that, but I just grabbed it, I pulled it off of his head, and then all of a sudden, like that, it was just a totally different person, and like, just got crazy.
What do you mean?
Like, the defendant was really calm and just quiet and was just like, where's Aiden King? Where's Aiden King? Where's Aiden King? And I'm, like I said, I don't know, I don't care, like, I'm right here, what's the problem here? Pulling the shirt off of his head, and then the second I pulled the shirt off of his head, just starts freaking out. Like, get very upset and argumentative, and forgot about Aiden King and did worry only about me and the people next to me.
And when you say argumentative, what was he doing?
Just like getting real fast and just like, oh, like, you took my shirt off my head, like there's gonna be a problem now, blah blah blah, like just all types of stuff like that.
Do you recall when you were talking to the defendant in the yard? Do you recall who was near you at the time?
Yeah, Nikki DeJesus and Ty Wood right next to me.
And do you recall, if you can, was there anybody near Tyler DeSilva?
No, I wasn't worried or paying attention to Tyler DeSilva at that point in time.
And when the defendant started to react the way he did and get crazy, as you said, what if anything happened next?
Me, Nikki, and Ty immediately were just like, we're from me to the microphone at this point now, away from him, just looking him right in the eyes, and we're just chirping each other back and forth.
And when you say chirping each other, what does that mean?
Talking shit.
Okay. And how long did that last for?
30 seconds, 45 seconds.
At any point during your chirping back and forth, did you ever tell the defendant to leave?
No.
So after about 30 or 40 seconds, what happens next?
Out of nowhere, really, Tyler Rich punched him in the face.
Do you know why he punched him in the face?
He was on his property. I'm not really sure other than that, though.
But how did you see Tyler Rich punch him in the face?
I just saw like his fist and just hit him in the face.
Come over across. So where was Tyler?
I don't know where Tyler was. I just like literally like I was looking the defendant right in his eyes, like right in his face, like that's all I was looking at. I was locked in on that, and Tyler Rich's fist just punches him.
How do you know it was Tyler's fist?
I figured that out after the fact.
So you didn't know it at the time?
No, at the time.
But it was one of your friends that punched the defendant in the face?
Yeah.
And when that happened, what happened after that?
I kind of, it's like weird from there. Like, I just kind of go at the defendant and I punch him in the face like 2 times.
And when you did that, did the defendant engage you?
Yes, he did.
And can you tell us a little bit about how
So
he
like he was stumped, like he's like when he got punched in the face, he stumbled back and just kind of fell. And then that's where like I kind of like got over him and I punched him in the face, and then all of a sudden I just feel like a weird sharp pain in my side, and I just kind of went like this, and I went like this, and I looked down to this, and I see him with his fist clenched up like this, and kind of like his shoulder and like bicep area right here were like held back by something, but he was going like this. And I'm you can say I was like on top of him at this point, but he's going like this. And I just see like a jabbing motion towards my side, and that's where I felt like the stick right prior. And then all of a sudden I'm just like, I gotta get away, like I gotta get out of here. And I get off and I just walk away.
And how many times would you say the defendant hit you?
Oh,
Do you recall?
I mean, I got stabbed 3 times, but I don't know. He was just going and going. Like it was not like he wasn't trying to hit me in a certain spot. It was just jabbing over and over and over, just trying to poke me basically.
And once that happened, you said you had to walk away?
Yeah, I just I don't know, like some instinct in me was just like, get up, get off, like get out of there.
And when that happened, how did you feel?
I was just like dazed, and it's like really like blurry and just like, I don't know. It's just it's honestly that entire part of the night like is the like least like there I am, I would say.
Okay. And at some point in time, what are you doing in the yard after this happens?
I realized that De Silva is in a fight with his own like group of people, and I kind of just stood there and watched.
And do you recall whether or not you engaged in that fight at all?
No.
Now, how long would you say that whole fight took place?
A minute.
And when the fight was going on, what kinds of things do you recall seeing about kind of watching the De Silva fight?
What do you mean by that? I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, you kind of just stood there, you said, and watched, right? What were you watching? What were you seeing?
Just people throwing punches, I guess, and that's really all I can recall about it.
When you were engaged with the defendant, do you know whether or not there was more than one person engaged with him?
No.
It was just you and him?
Yeah, from what I know.
And at some point in time, when you stop, when you back off from the defendant, do you see where he goes?
No.
Now, when you recall, if you can recall the De Silva fight, do you recall how many people were engaged with De Silva?
Like 3, 4 people?
3, 4? After the fight ends, at some point, do you realize that you're injured?
So, like, kind of as De Silva's getting, like, pushed out, my buddy Ty Wood was right next to me again, and he's like, dude, are you okay? And he's seen my clothes and, like, pointed it out, and I had already started to bleed through my sweatshirt and my shorts, and that's also when I heard my lung collapse in my chest, and I don't know how to describe it, but, like, it was, like, bubbles coming from out of my chest, and I just immediately got super, like, scared, and I didn't know what was going on.
And when you say you were bleeding,
Yeah.
so did you say anything how did you realize that you had been injured?
I just kind of lifted up my shirt and looked, and I was like, holy shit, like, I was stabbed.
And when you realized you were stabbed, at that moment, did you hear anybody scream anything?
No.
Did you see anything else at that point? What was going on?
I kind of just went into, like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, I thought I was gonna die. Like, I heard the bubbles come from out of my chest, and I just immediately thought the worst. And I walked myself back in through the cellar doors into the basement and sat down and was like, I want water.
Okay. Now, when you were fighting with the defendant, did you have a weapon on you?
No.
Do you recall if Ty Wood had a weapon on him that night?
No.
Do you recall if Nikki DeJesus had a weapon on him that night?
No, none of my friends carry weapons.
So I'll show you State's Exhibit 60.
Yes, sir!
Okay, now, this individual right here on the left, the green sweatshirt, do you know who that is?
That's me.
That's you?
Yeah.
Do you recall at this moment in time in the video, first of all, have you seen this video before?
Yes.
And do you recall, based on your recollection of when you were engaging with the defendant, is this video before or after you were already stabbed?
This is after I was stabbed.
So how is it that you're standing there watching Tyler De Silva and How is it that you don't know you're stabbed at this point?
I just didn't know. Like, I just had so much adrenaline going through me. I was like, this is the point in time where I, like, just something told me in my head, get up, get away from this, like, and that's where I am now. Like that's where I kind of got up and I kind of just walked and was like, all right. And that's when I realized, like, there was a whole nother fight going on. I didn't even know really there was another fight going on. I really thought it was just me and the defendant.
And at some point in time, actually, you can play the rest. So at some point in time, you recall hearing, he's got a knife, he's got a knife?
Yeah.
Okay. At some point in time, at what point in time do you realize that you're stabbed, and then you indicated you went down, you talked to Ty Wood, and then you go into the basement? At what point, I guess in that timeline, is my question.
Like the same exact time.
So you hear, he's got a knife, he's got a knife,
And Ty Wood's pointing out to me that I got stabbed.
and then you're lifting up your shirt. Now, I'll show you State's Exhibit 61. Can you see that?
Yeah.
This individual here on the left with the phone out,
Yeah.
do you know who that is?
That's Ricky Fiola.
And at this point in the video, you're already stabbed.
Yes.
So, is there a portion of this video that does not capture the beginning of the fight?
Yes, there is.
So, had this video started earlier, we would have seen the entire fight?
Yeah.
State 63. Again, this is, oh,
Me.
do you know who this is here?
Oh, that's Sal.
Sal Perry?
Yes.
This individual here with no shirt on, you know who that is?
Alex.
Alex Bernston?
Mm-hmm.
How about this kid here with the red hat?
Michael Samperi.
And this is,
De Silva.
and do you recall being here in this moment in the video?
That's like the only like point of view like I remember of like watching De Silva. Like this is like what I remember from
Okay.
that. Yeah.
And it's a few seconds after this that you realize that Ty Wood comes over.
That's like when everybody started figuring out they were stabbed. Like I want to say like Faison might have been the first one that realized he was stabbed, and he was like, "Holy shit! Like I was stabbed!" And then everybody is just like, "Whoa! Like what's going on?" And
When you realized that you were injured, did you notice if any, aside from Faison, did you notice if anybody else was injured?
no,
You kind of just lifted your shirt up, went right into the basement, and
pretty much. Yeah.
sat down, said, "I need a glass of water."
Yeah.
Did anybody else follow you into the basement?
Some people did, but I just don't. I don't remember who it was. Some people did follow me into the basement, and somebody did grab me a glass of water, and then they helped me out back outside because they were like, the ambulances are coming. They're about to be here. You got to come back outside. But I don't remember who it was.
Why don't you remember?
There was just so much going through my head at that point in time. Like I truthfully thought like I was gonna die. It was so hard for me to breathe. I didn't know I had a collapsed lung. I heard those bubbles happen in my chest, and I was just thinking the worst. And I truthfully thought like I was gonna die in that front yard or basement that night.
Did you know what was going on at that moment?
No, not really. I was just kind of in my own world, just like, don't die, just one breath at a time. Like that's literally what I got down to. By the time I was brought back into the yard and my lung was so like collapsed and stuff, like
Could you breathe?
like barely, I was like like that. Like I barely was able to breathe, and I was just like one breath at a time. Just I literally took it down to seconds. Like I was thinking so small. I was just like, just one step at a time, and I'll make it. I'll be okay, and all that stuff. But yeah, I was just so in my own world, just thinking about life and my life to that point in time. I truthfully thought I was going to die. And
maybe this might be a good point to stop for the day.
All right. All right. So we are going to adjourn for the day in a moment. So before I do that again, I'm going to do my daily reminder to the jury. So again, please, you must abide by the rule of juror conduct that I described to you at the beginning of this trial and the instructions that I gave you, the end of the first day of trial, and the ones that I have repeatedly told you to continue to abide by. Please leave your notebooks behind. Have a good evening, and we'll see you back tomorrow to reconvene with the evidence. Thank you. Court stands adjourned.